coming. Again, as always, make sure your cell phones are on vibrate or on silent, so we don't get interrupted. I'm gonna go ahead and move forward and declare a quorum. We've already done the pledge of allegiance. Any public comments? Mr. Mike Reeves.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, staff, visitors. Happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New
Hope
Year.
you and your families had a blessed and memorable, safe holiday. I came tonight to basically give reminders to each of you to make sure you spread the word to all of the residents about the changes in the services that went effective as of yesterday moving forward. You should have, if not in your packets, because this wasn't announced, I'd be here, but in your mailing to each of you in your homes this week, and some started last week, you'll be receiving a one-pager, which is going to be this informational and then the service calendar front and back, okay? And what this indicates is since you went from monthly brush and bulk to quarterly effective this month, we didn't, when we designed this schedule for 2024, we didn't want to have your residents wait an entire quarter to get to March because they probably have debris and items they want to place out now. So the first collection is next week. So that's the most important thing that I could give you as a takeaway tonight is please spread on social media, talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends. If there's any brush or bulk that they want to place out for this quarter, they need to have it out Sunday evening. So this weekend, think about it, it's kind of ideal because most people are taking Christmas decorations down if they haven't already done so. So when you're putting that away, maybe grab the trimmers, go prune the trees, take out anything from your garage, organize from your house, and have those items out before Monday morning at 7 o'clock, okay? And I encourage that because, as you know, our drivers are very meticulous about their path and the route throughout the city. So if they start at point A and they end at point Z, they're not going back and forth all week long. So please have it out by 7 o'clock and clock it, okay? And spread the word on that. So we will be collecting all that debris starting next Monday. And if it takes us to Friday, we'll be here to do so because it's the entire city. It's not just one section, right? There's a big difference.
Right.
But if there's a light set out, we could be done by Tuesday or Wednesday. So just everything that's out, one pass, we will collect it, okay? And then along with this calendar, you have a set of courtesy rules on here as just a refresher that I encourage everybody to kind of look through. If you have new residents that have been here since we first set foot in Odem many years ago when y'all privatized, it's good to go through this. Anybody who's forgotten, it's good to know. But here's the main difference. Your residents had up to 6 cubic yards per set out, right? Now they're going to have 12. It doubles, okay? So the reason behind that is some people want to, when they cut their trees, they want to do it one time instead of spreading it out throughout the year. So you get 4 of those per year now, but take advantage of it. And that's going to be basically 2 car lengths, okay? You look at the height of it, so forth, basically 6 foot high, but the length of 2 cars is what we're looking at, okay? So it's double what we used to be able to put out.
Limo sizes?
Limo, Suburban, I'll be okay with that, okay? Now, the drivers, they're going to use a judgment call. So if you've got 13 or 14 cubic yards, they're not going to leave just a little excess there. They want to try to get everything that they can. Now, if somebody has the wall of China out, so to speak, and they've lined the entire lot down to the neighbors, probably going to tag them and say, oops, that's a little bit too much, but they're going to grab the 12 and they're going to go, okay? So your residents and your city staff will know what's going on, okay? Does anyone have any questions? Well, I know you can't answer me this time, it's just public comment, but I'll stick around if anyone has any, okay?
Okay.
Thank you for letting me be here. All right.
Do we ask questions?
I think we can go ahead. I mean, even though it's public comments, we're going to go
Okay.
ahead. I mean, because this is important.
Sure,
So,
sure, no worries.
Hey, Mike, are you gonna have several trucks or you gonna have one or you gonna have several?
We're gonna probably have 2 for sure, and just see how it goes this first run. But I mean, if we've got to bring in more resources to make sure we get it done by Friday, that's not an issue.
You think you'll have it done by Friday?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We've gotten pretty good at this.
Metal and 2x4s, whatever you can put out there?
Well,
I
not,
haven't seen a letter. It's like,
yeah, not construction debris. So anything that you can basically take into your home and bring out of your home other than hazardous is what we call bulky.
Okay.
And then if you cut your trees and
Why
put them
you
in the
looking at
front,
me? I got a
I'm not necessarily you, councilman, but if you cut your trees in your specific property, you know, obviously that would go out there. That includes like plant life, you know, if you've got vegetation and landscaping, things like that. Now, the best thing I could ask for to help our drivers out is if it's small enough to fit in your trash cart, please do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because the claws and the grapple trucks we use, when they grab the bulky and the brush, if it's small, that debris that fits between that claw, it's going to fall on the ground and you're going to have a different complaint. Okay. So if it's small enough to go in your trash cart, please place it in that. Okay. Great question.
About a couch or anything like that.
Furniture, absolutely. That's considered true bulky. Now, if somebody levels a cortito in the back, that's a structure, or does that come from inside your house? It's a
Depends.
structure.
It depends.
That's a structure. You know, if somebody has like a small 2x4 in with the brush, that's doable. But none of the pads, okay, you know, the pallets, fencing, that's considered construction debris. And we know this, understand it. When people do small remodels in their home, they think that they can put that up during the bulk collection. That's still considered construction debris. It's the structure of your home, okay? Tiles, shingles, put a little bit in your trash cart each time until it's gone. That's the best way to handle that, okay? And then if you want to do a remodel, honestly, the best thing to do is to call us for a roll-off container. We'll put that in your driveway. You can be billed by us directly, and that's the best way to handle that.
Yeah.
Okay?
Is the public aware of it? What'd y'all do?
They mailed out the letters, it's on Facebook and it's on our website.
And when you
Mailed
have
out the letter with the water bill or what?
I'm not sure.
Cause I don't know.
don't think so. I didn't get one.
No, there's a separate mail out that's going to be coming this week.
Oh,
Okay.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So,
We paid for that. We covered that. It's nothing, no expense to the city.
okay, so they'll get it before, but you said it's gotta
Sunday.
be out by Sunday, right?
Correct.
So will they,
So they're going to receive their letter by Friday, and it'll be fresh in their mind, and they won't get amnesia, and then they'll be able to put it out. Because if we did this before the holidays, I promise you, it would go in the trash. It'd be used as a coaster. People will forget about
I
it.
mean, I know we're gonna have phone calls, but I'm just trying to think of
Yes.
what we can do to eliminate as many phone calls.
probably put it on Facebook, like, don't forget, like a reminder.
Can you put
Yes.
signs
on
up
the
at
website.
City Hall?
Yeah,
As
You know-
far as the new people that are coming in, are y'all still putting it in their packet? Remember, y'all have a packet for them? Is that letter there?
and honestly, I don't know, because I'm not up there when they
Okay.
have new people.
Just make
but-
sure,
But they
'cause
know, the
that
girls
was,
inside know.
From then, we've been doing it. I don't know. But, yeah, because the people, the brand new people, they don't know what's going on.
Well, we'll do our best to get it out there.
Absolutely. And
We'll share it on
those are
social
great
media.
references and good reminders, but I just thought of something. So I have a spare box of the hard letters that we just talked about
Okay.
that has one little oops on it. That's why we didn't mail those out. But if your team wants to just white out that one little word, I'll bring those tomorrow.
Okay.
And then as people come pay their utility bill or they want to come and ask questions, you have another one to give them as they come in. Would you like that?
Yes.
Okay. Any
Great.
other questions?
Any other questions?
Sounds great.
All right.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks,
Thank
Mike.
you. I'll stay around just in case anything else comes up. Okay. All right.
So we're going to move on with our monthly reports. Chief Ochoa.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I think y'all have give you all the sheet. Yeah, I got one here. This is not including the response from the Sheriff Department. It's just including just pretty much myself. And I forgot to include, we had 11 accidents from those 2 months as well. On the inspections, I did not get the inspections because I'm not City Hall doing the inspections, so I'll probably need to get apologize. So the next one, I'll give them Michelle and try to get a number on there. Try to get everything as soon as I can, also notification. Notification in December, so some of the numbers are kind of low in December. you have any questions on the report itself?
Inspections, for the houses, are we talking about like grass stuff, formal inspections?
No, inspections are gonna be for the homes, the new homes, and the construction, stuff like that. When it comes to the code enforcement, I'm trying to work on that, but also, I know the guys are very busy to try to send something and have them cut it and then have them cite them. So we have to organize with the guys before we do that. Okay. What I have been doing, I have been tagging cars because of course I don't need the guys for that, but we do tag, I do tag cars.
Are you an official or a officer on code enforcement? There's two, there's a official and a code officer.
Where's that at?
No, I'm just looking at, because there's two.
As
As a police officer can do me.
as a police officer, we could do it as a code enforcement. Yeah.
There's two citations.
Yeah, and I have my code enforcement, but of course I didn't go back to school because as a police officer, you could actually
Yeah,
do
okay.
the
I
code
don't know what
enforcement.
we had, so.
So we could actually, as a police officer, you could do more than just code
Yes.
enforcement at the same time.
So you get citations and stuff like that.
Yes, because as code enforcement, you only got a certain amount that you could actually do. You got limitations.
So how has DPS been? I mean, have they been working pretty well with you? And
Yeah,
The Sheriff's
they've been,
Department?
yeah, the sheriff department has been helping me out. Of course, it's hard for them sometimes at night and during the day because they have other places to go to. But we've been communicating with them.
good.
I know you know that I've been communicating with DPS, so
Yeah.
that's kind of the hardest thing right now with DPS with the accidents. I've been coming out of the accidents. Even if I go home, I still come out with the accidents during the week. Our arrangement was during the weekend, but I still come out. I know that I saw on Facebook that people are saying they're breaking into vehicles. I've been coming out, even though I'm on vacation. I've been coming out at night, and not in our unit and different cars, stuff like that. I'm going to try to patrol as much as I can, try to see what we can catch.
Well, have there been
go-
any reports? People reporting? Because I've heard through the grapevines,
Mhm.
but I haven't heard that there's been any reports
We
filed.
we've had
break-ins to
people
vehicles.
don't want to report it because I don't know why. I've had probably a couple of reports, but they're like, well, I don't want to, I just want my stuff back. And sometimes I tell them, well, it's good to report. That way I could have something to actually stop the person, but they don't want to get involved. They're afraid they're going to come back and stuff like that. So, but we've had some reports. And of course, some of those we write them incidents because they don't want to press any charges. So we have to just write them incident and try to get their property back. Probably have maybe like 4 or 5 of those.
Okay.
Not like 15 or 20, but 4 or 5 of those. Fortunately, income tax is coming through. People start buying stuff. That some people's burglaries pick up in January, February. So that's when actually I start working more in the burglaries, or my officers used to work in the burglaries. So I'll be doing that. I did get an email. I think Mary, you got it too, that we did get awarded for the grant with an officer.
Yeah.
That's the email that Isabel and myself had worked on that we had presented to the mayor and the council. We did get awarded that officer. So I just got to get with the mayor and he'll do the finance person to go see what we got to do to
Right.
activate that. And
Right.
okay.
So we're going to work on that. I did see DPS was here a lot this weekend, and
Yeah.
I know Martinez.
They had a task
Martinez
force.
on.
They had a task force
Yeah.
from San Pat all the way to Nueces County, which was good because we're on Highway 77. That's a great thing. They had a task force on the highway. I did communicate with the guys here. Of course, they're helping out, trying to stay as much as they can in town, but their main goal is also going to be the highway. So, unfortunately, they have that Harbor Bridge task force that they have to attend over there as well. So sometimes you get them here, sometimes you don't. But they've been helping out. We've been going at it hard as much as we can. Of course, we can't be everywhere. I'm only one person, and they're only one person too that they bring. But we're going to keep on going as much as we can.
Fantastic. Anybody have any questions?
So do we still have the number of the police department here?
The what?
The number to the police department?
Yes.
So
If you call the police department, it goes to the sheriff department.
it goes to the sheriff.
Yes,
Okay.
it's actually.
So these calls that are on here, this does not include 911?
The 911 calls, usually, if you're going to get a disturbance, they still call, yes. It goes for anything from 911 to the sheriff department, or calls that I just come up to, or people even stop at the police department and they want to report, or they say something's going on, I go out there.
Okay.
That's right.
Traffic citations, John?
No,
No.
traffic citations are not there.
Okay.
I had 16 stops, but of course, I always told my officers November, December, try to slow down on the citations. You got officers giving out gifts. I don't want to be giving out citations in December. Accidents are not here, sir. We had 11 accidents total.
And they were all in the city limits or just like?
No,
'cause
all in the
outside-
city limits. Yeah,
inside
I only could
Because I
take.
know there's been some that were a little outside the
Yes,
city.
and
limits
also you got to remember the ones in the weekend. I was not called out, so there could have been more by DPS. But the ones during the week, they're all have to be in the city limits. I take.
So we get funds if you write the citation, it goes to our court, right?
Correct.
But if it's the county or the DPS, we don't get any.
No, it goes to Judge Garza.
So if the county's there and you're there, who writes the?
It matters who takes the accident. If I take the accident, if there's a citation, I write the citation.
What do you mean by who takes the accident?
Who's reporting to the accident? Like if it's the weekend, if the DPS is taking the accident, they'll write the citation if there is one.
Okay.
And if they call me for the accident, I'm taking the accident. So the accident is actually investigated by me. Now we got to understand that these accidents, they do take 4 or 5 days to do. We don't just do the accident one day because we got to investigate the accident.
Right.
We got to call. Sometimes there's injuries. I've gone to an accident that everybody's gone by the time I get there because the ambulance took them already. But we have to investigate. It does take our time. Also, what I did work on October, November, December is our audits. We did get audited for our grants. We did get NIBRS audit. And of course, we got our yearly audit from our narcotic fund. So I did work on those one each month. I got lucky that one came October, one came November, one in December, not all at the same time because that would have been hard. Of course, on that audit, I got to go back to everything that we've done. Had to take some training again because Isabel was on there as a training from NIBRS. So NIBRS, what NIBRS is actually everything that happens here, we report it to the state and FBI, and the FBI gets the number here. If you ever heard some of the cities, they say this is the most dangerous city to live in, it comes from the NIBRS. The NIBRS is actually the one who actually reports. So they get those numbers from that NIBRS report. And we got to make sure we actually write the right stuff because we actually put too much, we'll be the dangerous city to live in, and we're not, So it's happened to actually 2 local nearby cities here. They actually sent the wrong information and it came out like that, and your stats on there, and you don't want to do that. So we got to make sure everything's correctly. So we got audited on that, and I did work with Hilda to try to work with the other audits. We were trying to get all those done. We still got one that we're still lingering with, but we're going to get it done.
Good deal.
And this is correct for the December.
Yes, because in December, of course, I took vacation, started vacation in December. So, and then this is not counting.
I wasn't aware.
Yeah, and then this wasn't counting also the sheriff department calls because they're the ones taking the calls right now. Anybody else?
Any other questions?
When you have time, I was gonna see if you would be able to email us your schedule. I
Okay,
mean, I don't know how it is, but if you have a chance.
I'll email it. I won't tell you right now, but I'll email it.
And
Yeah,
I said, we
yeah.
didn't know you were on vacation. I didn't know you were on vacation.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were on vacation.
Yeah.
I was gonna call you then.
No, and if I'm on vacation, call me and I'll go. I'm not gonna be unless, of course, if I'm out of town or out of state, of course, I'm not gonna be able to come. But if that doesn't bother me.
It's good for us to know because then we look at this and we might get the wrong impression.
Yeah.
But if we had known you were on vacation, then I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. So, but like I said, if anything comes up, don't hesitate. Call me. I'll tell you if I go out there, or I'll send somebody out there. I'll send the sheriff department. I'll try to send somebody who I can. Hopefully, with this other officer coming through, it's the grants course going to be a year. Hopefully, that's going to help us out as well. So,
The officers that were laid off, are they still doing, are they still coming and working here or not?
no, most of them found somewhere else to
They
go.
found somewhere to go?
I got
Okay.
2 that stayed as a reserves, and they come out every month. They do 16 hours.
They can do citations, right?
Yes, they could do citations. The only thing they cannot do is accidents because, of course,
Right.
they have to come back and redo the accident and everything. So, but the citations and everything, if they're on duty, if it's a quick accident, you could do it one day. Those are little fender benders. So you get little bumps and it'll be done. But besides that, if it's something major, no, we won't.
So we don't have any that are doing reserves anymore?
Just 2.
Two?
Yeah, I
Okay.
do have 2. And they do their 16 hours. They're real good at doing their 16 hours.
All right. Thank you, Chief.
Anybody else? Thank y'all. If y'all don't need me, I'm going to go ahead and.
Yes, sir. You're good. Thank you. Thank you. We're gonna move on to, Judge Guerrero.
Mayor and council, good evening. And you all do have my report, correct? Mayor, this was the first time that I left it in the office for it to be put in the packet. I always brought it with me, so that's a little bit easier for me. Thank you very much.
Mhm, thank you.
And there is your report. Of course, you just saw it about a couple of weeks ago. And the back page is the first 3 months is for 2022. And then you see where it starts with first quarter. That's all the money that was collected in 2023. And so you come down and see how many citations were issued. And we're still doing very heavy telephone. People that are coming in to make payments. Every once in a while, we'll have somebody who wants to enter a plea. And I will go ahead and talk to them and take the plea if they are willing to sign the paperwork. And we are having court like twice a month. And we won't have court again until January the 12th, I believe is our next court date. We are sending out letters to people who are not paying, who have made a few payments and then stopped paying. And almost like a threatening letter, a nice threatening letter telling them that if they don't start paying, that we'll be bringing them into court or we'll proceed with a CAPIS profile or whatever's necessary to get the money.
How many of those
collecting.
cases are like that?
That people that don't pay,
Yeah.
we usually send out about 50. We're getting ready to do some in the month of January. And 50, and out of the 50, maybe 20 appear, sir.
Okay.
But they do call and make a payment, a credit card payment, or they pay it all in full online. They call to the office, or they try to call and make arrangements, whatever's necessary, and I will talk to them and make arrangements if they've had a hard time paying. So,
Okay, so just a question. Why do you only have court twice a month?
that is with the prosecutor. That is with the prosecutor. That these are people who have pled not guilty, and we set them up for what we call a pretrial conference, and bring them in, and the prosecutor is there, and he will try to work something out. If not, I take the bench and I go ahead and try them, and I have the officer there ready.
But why do we do them only twice a month?
That's the time that Mr. Isasi, I guess you can answer that question for me.
When we set up our court dates, pre-trial hearings, we set them up to where I'd be here twice a month, and normally on Fridays, because that's my easiest, lightest day.
Okay.
Monday through Thursday, I'm either in a courtroom trying cases or handling day-to-day hearings.
Okay.
Friday's a lot slower, so, and that's where we set it up for, on Fridays, and it's been working.
Twice a month?
Yes, those are the pretrial conferences, but other than that, I'm there and I do court, sir.
So do you have another attorney that could sit in your stead when you can't be here, like in your office? I mean, besides you, I mean, since, our agreement is with your firm, correct?
No, it's just with me.
With you as an individual? Okay, so even if you had another attorney,
I'm gonna send them over, because they won't know what to do.
Mr. Isasi is very well trained and we work very good together as to what he can and can't do with the court. And we usually set quite a lot of cases. I believe in December, the second part of December was the first time that we had court in the afternoon on a Friday. And we didn't get out of here till after 5 o'clock. And that was the day that we were having our Christmas dinner that y'all provided for us. That was the day that we had court on a Friday after lunch. But usually it's in the morning.
All day or half a day?
Half a day, ma'am, half a day, yes. And half a day, but they're
Every
coming.
week, half a day?
Yes, ma'am. Twice a month.
Oh, twice a month.
With Mr. Isasi, twice a month.
That
With-
was the agreement that we worked out with the county, that I show up twice a month, half a day, being that I'm not a full-time city attorney, but I'm part-time, and I carry my own practice. And there's never been an issue with most magistrate court cases. There's no background. I'm not the only doing that. I sat, basically from, October through December, the district courts, county courts are on this issue. Doing the best we can. What we started doing is incorporating, in our pre-trials, we set up maybe 20, 30 cases for pre-trials. And how many cases, not individual cases, sometimes, one individual might have 5, 7 charges. So what we started doing is, aside from the pre-trial, we'll set up maybe 5 or 6 non-pre-trials. And it worked great here in December because both officers showed up.
There you go.
Surprisingly, they showed up, and we had our hearing. Unfortunately, one of the officers couldn't remember any of the facts of the case, so we couldn't go forward on his cases, but to his credit, he showed up. And the other officer did show up, and we went forward on his cases. So that's the plan we've implemented, is aside from dealing with pretrial, and what a pretrial disposition is that the individual receives a ticket, they'll show up in court, and they'll sit down, they'll talk to me, and we'll see if we can work out their case. 99% of the time they'll work it out. And like I think I reported last time, at the last meeting, is that here in the last couple of months, so maybe more, there's been individuals that say, well, is the officer still here?
Yeah.
We want to I'm going to set up a trial. So we're doing that. And before that, I mean, people paid their fines, left and right.
Okay.
I was just working
Since you said the officer couldn't remember anything, how long had it been since?
It had been about 3 months, ma'am. And
He forgot
to
it.
me personally, I spoke to the prosecutor. And to me personally, it was one of the ones that had been dismissed or had been, and to me, he took came in, forgot everything. And bring him back, and we don't pay him, but he has to come in whenever a subpoena sent in, but he just crossed his arms and didn't remember. He talked about that.
He wasn't happy he was here. I mean, he made it known that he wasn't happy.
He was not happy.
Is there any way we can report to his present employer? I mean, that's unprofessional. I mean, he still has an obligation.
No.
Yeah, I mean, he still has an obligation to the city, whether he's happy with the outcome of our budget process, it's irrelevant. He has an obligation to this community, and if he's doing it intentionally, if there's some way we can do to report that to his present employer, because, I mean, if we need to keep calling him back till he remembers, then we'll keep calling him back until he remembers.
And he still made
What
it.
we do is, once we set it up, the officers here, the defendants here, so we call him to trial. Say, my witness, and I can't go forward if he says, you know what, I can't stop this person outside the city limits or whatever. I don't know.
They still, guilty,
Yes, yes.
the majority of
The
it.
majority, oh, yes, about 90% of them guilty. And Mr. Sassi, I did a report to give to the mayor. I don't have it ready, but it's not that many cases that we have that are backlogged, maybe about 25. And to me, that's nothing compared to what we had. We had a lot. So we've been able to proceed, or maybe they're getting tired and they just want to go ahead and plea and not have to worry about receiving letters. But it's about 15. For the jury trials, we have about 11, sir. So I'm real proud of that because we were real backlogged. And I'm just real pleased with that they've been able to get it out. Now, what's going to happen with the cases that are now, I don't know, but I'm proud that we've gotten the amount down.
Officer takes oath for the state, right? When he takes an oath, he takes it for the state, right?
For sure. I mean, there should be something. I know that I emailed you
Yes, sir.
and I think I CC'd.
Did you see that
Mr.
email
Sassi,
about Mr. Isas, about
about
me?
wanting to get this backlog cleared up,
Yes, sir.
before the summer. I mean, this is a time, there was no citations. I'm looking, there was no citations the last few months.
Income tax time, sir, that's when we collect the
So
most.
this is a time to clear up all that backlog. So, I mean, like Chief said, we got this grant approved. So hopefully we're going to bring one of our officers back. So hopefully the citations will start to go up a little bit. But this is a time for you and our attorney to catch up
Right.
with these cases. And I expect you guys to be caught up by the summer. I mean,
Yes,
I don't
sir.
think that's unrealistic to give y'all 5 months to get caught up, especially right now when, the number of citations being brought in is
Zero.
zero.
Yes, sir.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I will do everything that I can, sir, and, but I'm just real proud that the pretrial conferences and the jury trials are low compared to what we used to have before.
And
sir.
I don't see in this report the cases that were dismissed, the number of cases that were dismissed.
They're not here, sir. There's no account for them other than the dismissals have never been on here. I will try to do this report because that's a very good question, sir. Where are the dismissals? How many are you dismissing per month or whatever? I will try to redo the report and put in there the dismissals. Dismissals can be for any reason, for we find that they're not guilty, and it can be various reasons.
If you can email me that information and I'll forward it to the council members so they
And
can
I will
review.
try to redo this, and put, a dismissal count on there, so that way every 3 months that I come, at least you'll know what the amount is.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yes.
The only thing I'll ask is that if y'all run into any barriers, could y'all communicate that to the mayor? So he
Yes,
can let
sir,
us know? So we're not finding out at the last minute that, hey, wait.
Oh, the mayor stays on top of it, he knows very well, he likes to know that. Yes. Absolutely, absolutely, I agree with you 100%. And, so I don't know if y'all have any more questions, but we've had no citations, like the mayor said. In November and December, it's 0 citations at the bottom. If you look at the back page in September, the end of September was the last time that the officers were here, and $17,816 were brought in. And then you look at the first page, and it's going down, 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 the last 3 months. Man? Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, you're welcome. Yes.
We're going to move on to Ms. Tiffany.
Good evening. I have October 26th through November 27th report, and then the November 28th through December 25th. So for the October 26th through 27th report, you had a total of 54 calls for the month, 3 of them being mutual aids inside the city limits. 27 of them were inside the city limits out of that 54. One of them was out of compliance due to the wrong address was given. And then that gave you an average response time for your local truck of 5 minutes and 7 seconds. And then with the 3 mutual aids, your average response time was 21 minutes, 6 seconds. For the county, you had a total of 27 calls for that month, where you had 1 mutual aid to Mathis and 1 mutual aid from Sinton for your county calls.
Is this October?
This was the October through November 27th.
Okay, yeah, we don't have that.
Well, we got November 28th to December 25th.
Okay. I know I sent one previous and it gave a report because I showed up.
Yeah, I think that was the
Okay.
one, the previous report you gave.
I just wasn't sure. So, all right. So November 28th through December 25th, You had a total of 33 calls for that time frame. 21 of them were in the city limits. 2 calls were mutual aids into the city. Your average response time was 5 minutes, 9 seconds for your primary truck, and then 15 minutes for your secondary truck. One of the mutual aid calls, your primary truck was still on scene. The Sinton unit came over to help take some additional patients. It was an accident. Then in your county calls, you had 12 for that time frame. 3 of them were mutual aids to Mathis, and then 1 was to Sinton. And there were no Halo calls noted for that time frame.
And what is your compliance time again?
8:59.
8:59. Okay, so that's pretty good. Anybody have any other questions? Any questions for Ms. Stephanie?
Just a quick, when they have like a wreck over there on the construction, are y'all aware of it before y'all head that way, that you take the alternate route?
I believe the crews are. They've traveled that pretty frequently, going to to Northwest a lot, so they're aware of all those changes. And when I get updates from the state, from like TxDOT or whatever, in my emails, those get sent to the crews as well.
Well, I mean, there's accidents, there's always accidents.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying.
So they're pretty well versed with this area over here and their different routes.
Okay.
But when I do get notifications, I do pass them along too, so that they're aware of them if they aren't.
Because Facebook probably has it.
No, no.
Facebook always has it, but I know a lot of times the Harbor Bridge Project sends me emails as well, and so I send it to everyone, whether they're traveling to work or from work. It's good for them to know as well. So
So I know at one time y'all were responding to all fire calls. Are y'all still doing that?
if they're called out, they are.
So where are y'all getting notified? Y'all, there's no way that y'all can hear there's a fire call on your radio?
I'm not sure they're programmed to hear fire, but they would have to be reached out by the county to be sent that way.
Can we get them as e-dispatch? Because they got e-dispatch now, sometimes we get them. Give them,
Oh, for the fire calls?
yeah.
I mean,
We have e-dispatch through the sheriff's office for our regular 911 calls. And I mean, if y'all want the county to have them send my crew to your fire calls,
I
we
I
can.
don't think it would hurt because if the firemen need assistance or there's a structure fire.
Right. In Aransas County, we have our units go to structure fires and large brush fires. It's an automatic dispatch with the dispatchers.
I
So
think that might be something we need to look at, just to.
Well, they were doing that for a long time.
I know they were doing it at one time.
yeah, they were being paged out. So I don't know what changed or if it was just the e-dispatch with all the new radio systems being reprogrammed and
I
stuff.
remember something about the radios. Mayor.
The fire department, they have patients out through our dispatch. So radios that we have, and we need help, we gotta call sheriff, go ahead and send the EMS, get EMS loaded. Because they don't wanna put the frequency.
yeah.
They don't put the frequency and our frequency in their department or their department or not.
But they got an app for that, because they got an app that they get e-dispatch.
Well, I think, I think,
Relationship with, what's his name, like,
yeah, I think that, especially during the summer
Yeah.
time, when we have those
Absolutely.
big brush fires, EMS needs to be there for the firefighters.
Absolutely.
Because, it can get overheated pretty quickly. So I think that's something that we'll work on, and I'll reach out to you,
Okay.
through email, and we'll work with the dispatchers to kind of arrange that. I mean, right now, it's not such a big deal because brush fires aren't really an issue. But if there is a large structure fire or something like that, I mean, we can probably work on something. So I really appreciate it. Thank you. We're gonna move on to the fire department. They were able to one family emergency and everybody else was working. So they had calls from the city limits. Was there, he was ready to get citations and everything. I don't know if it was firework related or not, but yeah, they should have. But they were outside the city limits, so they're just right there on the other side. Yeah, we pushed it over. Yeah. So there was, some expenses there for batteries and we did get right now all the vehicles that were in service, out of service, the brush two and the tanker are back in service. Brush two is having some transmission issues. That's going to be addressed later on, but they were able to, the tanker truck was called out on the last fire. So they were able to put it back in service. So they were happy about that. So right now the fire department has all its vehicles up and running, except for brush two that has some transmission issues. They think it's an electronic issue, so it shouldn't be too their report. We're going to go ahead and move on to number 3, discussion and action items considered. Item A, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the minutes for the regular meeting held December 5th. You should have a copy of those minutes. Do I have a motion? Motion by Councilman Pacon. Any discussion? I'm going to go ahead and vote. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, phase 5. And approved. Item B, discuss, consider, and take action to approve the minutes from the special call meeting held on December 16th. That was the meeting that we had discussing the awarding of the project, water improvement project. Do I have a motion? Okay. That should be November. So I have a motion from Councilman Candela to minutes for this special call meeting held in December 16th, 2023 with corrections on top. Second by Councilman Odem. Any discussion? We're going to move on to a vote. Phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, phase 5. Motion carries. Item C, discuss, consider, take action to approve resolution 631. You should have an attachment right there that approves the purchase of I guess you can probably fill us in on this a little bit better.
I'll make a motion that we approve the resolution 631.
So I have a second. Okay. Motion to approve resolution 631 by Councilman Falcon, second by Councilman Candela. We'll move on to discussion. Jesse?
This came to council, and all it is, I think there was two projects. There was Danny's and this one. All it is just a resolution, get approved, and then we have public hearing.
And this is for the new sign. What is it like? There's going to be a digital sign or?
You want to, Donna?
Ms.
I have to
Donna?
be quiet all day in the library, so you do have to let me talk right now. And this is perfect that he was here today, because if I was going to stand up here and convince you why we need that sign, he could say, this is what I want, and posted right now in the library bulletin board is that 2-page sign. But that's a lot of unserved population out here in Odem that don't, they don't come in necessarily and look at the bulletin board. So he's proven the point. We could go in there right now, type that in the computer, and it would say bulk pickup, January 7th, 7 a.m., and it could have some of the rules. So, I mean, I probably don't need to tell you all the rest then, because that just proved it. The only thing we are going to have to think about, we're going to have some type of perimeters in place before we start using it. We're going to need to say, you have to separate church and state, but EDC is buying it, so we've got that loophole. Y'all might remember my 15 minutes of fame when the National Atheists sued me. And I was on Channel 6 because I put the living Christmas tree. Well, that would have to do with it. So because the EDC bought it, when we write up our bylaws for this sign or whatever you want to call it, your ordinance, you could say no political ads. You could say a limited amount, 4 days your ad could be up there. We're going to need to sit down and maybe talk to the school in Corpus Library and see what their perimeters are. We need something in place before we put that sign up. I'd like to sit down maybe with Mr. Asasi and see what legally we need to have in place. But it's so very needed.
Could
It's
you
so,
use this sign for, like if somebody in the public?
Y'all
wanted to
had
put
that,
happy
yes, that-
birthday
Yeah.
And charge them?
That's exactly.
And charge them?
yes.
She's just saying no political.
That was just an
Religious.
Yeah, that's
example.
what it's for, happy birthday,
Yeah.
Billy.
Yeah.
You would pay and they would put it up.
Yeah,
there.
Miss Alvaro brought it up, and if you drive by sometime at night, it looks like aliens are there because just random lights are on that sign. But you used to pay $5 was a fee when we put it up there. And you could say, happy birthday, Sam, or happy anniversary, or you could even put something like barbecue at St. Patrick's or whatever.
Jesse's house.
And we're gonna have, yeah,
Because
Build
we
it.
would do birthdays. I remember our
and that pays for the electricity. I
Well, you
was
could
really
put
amazed
you
how
could
much that it generated revenue.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could put multiple things that could
Yes.
be running throughout the day.
Yeah,
I think, to me, I'm an advocate of let's not reinvent the wheel. So if you know somebody at one of the other libraries in the Corpus Christi Library that has a sign like that, if they have something in place, if they can give you maybe a copy of a draft or something, and then we can look it over and maybe get with our attorney and make sure that we've got all the dots,
I'd like to gather maybe from some of the larger libraries, smaller library, maybe even the school.
Yeah.
So that we cover everything, because it's gonna be big when it gets here. Because you'll be able to sometime run 4 things at a time.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited.
And we also gonna be able to use the one that's on there,
Yes.
where you may put on a trailer, and take it around
Oh,
town.
Yeah, that won't be wasted. That we can put on a trailer and say, one of the churches is gonna have an outlet or something. They can pull that on the trailer and pop that sign up for a temporary sign.
Yeah.
So it won't be a waste or a loss at all.
will we have to have another meeting?
Yes, we have to have public hearing,
Public hearing?
just like, with one.
Okay.
So, but I will get that before then.
Okay,
I'll try to get those parameters before then, but I'm so glad you were here.
so
So.
fantastic.
Oh.
Any other questions? All right,
Okay, and I'll get that.
yes.
Thanks, Donna.
So no other discussion? So we're gonna go ahead and vote. Place 1,
Yes.
place 2,
Yes.
place 3,
Yes.
place 4,
Yes.
place 5. Motion carries. Move off to item D, discuss, consider, and take action to remove Karina Kinglo from First State Bank of Odem account. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we remove Karina Kingo from the First State Bank of Odem.
Any second?
My second.
So I have a motion by Councilman Candela to remove Karina Kinglo from the First State Bank of Odem account, second by Councilman Alvaro. Any discussion?
How did this person come about being a signature?
She wasn't a signature. She was just, we needed to have someone like, what was it, that, Hilda, to pick up the bags and stuff like that. She wasn't like on the account. She was just on the account to be able to transport.
I don't remember us putting her on the agenda for,
She was.
No, she was on the.
okay.
Yeah.
Because for something like that, I don't think we need to. I mean, I think you can make a decision to allow somebody to pick up a bag.
Well, the bank was the one that said they needed minutes.
Yeah, the
That,
bank.
yeah. So we had to.
We just put it on the agenda.
Yeah, because the bank wanted it, she needed to have minutes, because they couldn't even allow her to go pick up bags. So,
Even like right now, for me to even look at the account, we had to have minutes and we had to vote and I just said, it's like, whole background.
so I don't know if things have changed.
Just for
You
me to
being the
look online.
bookkeeper?
Yeah,
Yes, just even look online. I used to, well, I can't transfer money either. I can only look and print out. Because when, like when Angela posts.
They got more strict, I guess, because
yeah,
they.
I'm guessing.
See, I can't look at it. I can go up there and get copies
Yeah,
of the
but-
statements, but I can't.
But well, your signature on there.
Yeah, but I don't have access to the bank account online. Well, I didn't ask. I have never asked. So.
Well, technically you can because your signature on it, you can just go over there,
Yeah.
but I don't recall,
I don't do that.
dropping the bag,
Yeah, I mean,
We voted.
yeah, they've gotten really strict about even that, so, okay. Any more discussion? I'm gonna move on to vote. Place 1,
Yes.
place 2, place 3,
Yes.
place 4,
Yes.
place 5. We're going to move on to item E, discuss, consider, and take action to approve a 6-month term, a 60-month term with TXU for energy services to take effect after the contract with Constellation has expired. If you look at the attachment, our Angela, or she's a,
Yes, her name's Angela.
right? And she works with the city. She's kind of gone out there and looked for, try to get us the best price for our energy service, for electrical service. Everything obviously is going up. And most of these, well, all these companies here, they can't hold on to these prices because things change quickly. But if we approve, for example, TXU, which is the lowest at 0.0, what is it? 0.0659. We can sign an agreement with them in advance so they can hold that price for us. So if it goes up later on, we're already kind of locked in to that price. If it does go down, however, then we go get the lower price. But if it goes up, we're locked in. The contract with Constellation doesn't end until the end of this year, towards the end of 2024. I think October. Do you remember? So it's towards the end of the year is when our contract with Constellation ends, and then the new contract would take over. So
Let me ask.
That's all I can ask. He looked at it.
They're under contract with us, right? And their contract expires at the end of the year. Now, these prices here, Are they gonna be good back in, from October 1st?
These prices here, according to our rep, she says
She's
that's what,
saying that they'll-
yeah, that's what we need to lock them in now.
My concern is that you guys signed a contract right now. I mean, what does the other contract say? I didn't look at it. I don't know what it says. Are we gonna be in breach of that other contract? I mean, that's what we need to be careful with.
See, and isn't Constellation a co-op where they find different companies and seems that the rate, so do they or not? So that's just an energy company? Because weren't we years ago for years and years, even the digital days were always a co-op, where they go and find the regular rates, but that's what I'm saying. So Constellation is still. Oh, yes. I didn't find out, how did we get Constellation? Is it that one?
Yeah, she is,
Motion table this for investigation.
Almost a year. That's someone city getting to.
That's why, I'd rather just table
See,
it.
that's what I'm saying, if we have a contract with a company that goes and seeks
Yeah.
better
That's-
rate with different.
well, that's who this company does. They've been working with the city for years.
So it's the same person.
It's the same company, Angela, let me see her last
She's
name
just
is
recommended these.
Angela Liu
But I've never
with,
heard what she's from.
Integrity Energy.
Okay, that's what my question was.
Yes,
What was
they're
that?
with, she's with Integrity Energy and they go out and they've been working with the city for several years.
That was my question. So we need to look into Integrity's contract
I think, for the last. 2
with
years,
Constellation, I
we
guess,
switched
because they got
over
a
to
Constellation.
All right.
Because we got Constellation, we used to be, Jexa before.
So,
Be who?
Becky was Jexa, Jexa, Gexa.
Really?
Gexa or Jexa, I think it was Jexa.
I don't know nothing about it, like I said, they just,
so she gave me her cell number. If we had questions, we could put her in, but she's not from here. So do y'all want to bring her on? I can call her on her cell, see if she responds or do y'all want to table it?
No, if she can respond, it's perfect,
We
because,
could still research it.
I mean, I'm gonna look at Republic, but they have a habit of coming way beforehand and offering you a better deal. Sorry,
But
but
that's,
So,
the thing is
it's the
that
same
they
thing.
offer you a better deal than they would renew.
Right, so that's what I'm
contract.
saying, but
In this
this
case,
company.
we're not doing that.
I don't know nothing about it.
Angela, this is Mayor Maldonado here in Odem.
No, it's just.
So I'm going to put you on speaker. We're having our council meeting right now and we have this on the agenda. So there are some questions. Let me go ahead and put you on speaker here.
Okay,
So you are on speaker now.
okay. Hi, everyone.
I'll make a motion that we discuss and take action on that. I second it. Okay, now for discussion. I'm sorry, Ms. Angela.
Oh, no, you're
We
fine.
just put it on the table now to discuss.
Okay.
Okay,
So we have a lot of questions, obviously. So what I was trying to explain to them is that you provided this list of providers for us, and TXU is kind of the best price we have right now. And when we had our last discussion, we were talking about locking in this price for now. But when does our contract with Constellation end?
your Constellation contract that you currently have ends at the end of 2024, so in December. So this contract for you would begin in January of 2025. So the price that you have currently with Constellation will run out through the end of the contract. What we're doing is securing this price ahead of time on the market where it's at now. It's just how we get the best pricing. Me being a broker, we send this out for pricing. We start shopping usually around 18 months out before the end of a contract, sometimes 2 years, depending on the size of the account, just to be able to make sure we're looking at the best pricing. I'm sure, as you all can agree, since this last contract is signed, so much has changed with the energy market. So specifically in Texas, right now, the market, you know, if you were just shopping on your own, we're looking at 8 and 9, 10 cent pricing. It's just because of everything that's happening with coming back from the pandemic. And as crazy as this sounds, I know a few years back there was a giant ice storm in Texas that affected the ERCOT market. And these things are just now catching up where we're starting to really see, you know, the extreme changes with the pricing going higher. So for us shopping early, we're able to secure you the best price to just keep on hold. And then that would begin as soon as the Constellation one is over.
Okay, so my understanding was now if there is a price change and it goes down, then we would get the better rate. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Or correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's
Yeah, and what we do now, TXU doesn't add. I will have to, because of course I'm at home. I'm out of the office now, but when I go in, if I'm not mistaken with TXU, they can add an addendum to their contract that states this for you. If not, what I typically have these suppliers do that offer it's what's called a blend and extend, and I'll explain that. But they will put in writing for you in an email basically what it is. What it says is that if the market drops lower at any point during the contract, we would be able to lower the cost, you know, the price per kilowatt with no penalty to you. So it's almost like a brand new contract. As your broker, we would keep an eye on that. If we notice that this market drops lower than the rate given, we would initiate that for you all. You know, we would reach out to TXU. They take a weighted average of where the market is with the price that you have. They come up with a new lower price for you, and that would begin immediately. So yeah, it's really helpful. So you're not stuck at a higher price if it happens to drop. I'm going to be 100% honest with what we're gathering, with the trending that we're seeing. We most likely would never have to use it, but it is nice to know that if, say, the market drops out of the sky and goes back down to a 4 or 5 cent price, then you could take advantage of that at any point.
Okay, and our conversations, is it Constellation right now? Is it, what was it again? Like 3?
Yeah, you're paying a phenomenal price. You're paying, I don't have my computer in front of me. I want to say it's a 378 or something. And that was locked in right around COVID when the market was completely bottomed out. So you guys just got the price locked in at a very good time. We were able to secure, that rate, but, unfortunately those times are said and gone.
No.
But thankfully, you'll be able to keep that price until the end of the contract.
Okay, so let me ask you, if by chance the market does drop a little bit and we do, after we've already started with TXU, then we would be locked in at the new price, right? So if the market went up the next year, we would be locked in at that lower price.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So it would be almost like a brand new contract. So that's the benefit of having a fixed rate contract, right? So say, for instance, we move forward, we lock in this rate. It's a 6. I don't have my information in front of me. It's a 649. We lock that in, and 2 years into the agreement, this rate drops down to a 499. We would send you over a brand new contract for whatever agreed upon term at that time that you would agree to. We would sign the new agreement, and that would be your new effective rate for that duration of the contract, no matter what. Unless, again, of course, that the market would come down, because that offer will always stand. It's not like a one and done thing that, okay, we lowered it, we can never lower it again.
Right.
Again, this isn't something I feel like we'll end up having to take advantage of, but if so, that would be your new rate.
All right. Okay. Anybody have any questions? Any more questions?
Happy? You happy with it? Yeah.
Angela, thank you for answering my call. I really appreciate it. I think I did a pretty good job at explaining it initially, but they were throwing a lot of questions at me, so I thought I better call you.
Well, no problem. And I wondered, I emailed you this morning and said, said, hey, and I didn't get an email back, so I was hoping. I said, well, hopefully he's got it. If not, he knows he can call me on my cell phone. So not a problem at all. I hope I answered anything. If anything else comes up, please let me know. Once you decide, I don't know how it goes from here. All you have to do is email me, let me know, okay, we're ready to move forward, and I'll get the paperwork sent over to you, and we'll sign a DocuSign, and that'll be it.
Fantastic. Well, I think we're going to move on it pretty quick because I don't want these rates to change on us.
Yeah.
You never, just never know right now. So,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, I will be looking out for your email. You let me know when you're ready. Like I said, I can, have the paperwork over the same day, and we'll get everything submitted and, ready to go for the renewal.
all right. Thank you, Ms. Angela. Appreciate it.
You're more than welcome. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
She said 649.
She was just kind of throwing a number out there.
Let's go with that.
It's recorded.
We caught it on tape.
Well, I'll make a motion that we go ahead and approve the 60-month term with TXU.
Yeah, just already did it.
Well, but he made a motion to bring it to the table.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm making a motion.
okay.
Go ahead and accept the
Okay, yeah.
60-month.
I'll second it.
Okay.
TXU.
So, motion by Councilman Huerta
Accept.
to accept the TXU for 60-month term with TXU for energy service. Second by Councilman Falcon.
I do that sometimes.
If no more discussion, we're gonna go ahead and move forward with the vote. Place 1,
Yeah.
place 2, place 3,
Yes.
place 4,
Yes.
place 5. And had a senior moment there. Jeez.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't?
We'll move on to item F, discuss, consider, and take action to approve placing staggered elections for city council members on the November ballot. Do I have a motion to discuss?
I'll make a motion, we just discuss,
Okay.
not to take action, just discuss.
I have a second to discuss?
Staggered elections only.
Okay. Motion by Councilman Falcon to discuss staggered elections, second by Councilman Dominguez. Any discussion?
Yes.
So-
I think, I said, everybody has this House Bill 1434, I think. Did you look at it?
I got it.
What's it look like? Pretty good?
I mean, what that bill there did, I mean, it opened the doors for cities to be able to do this now. Because before, the cities were locked into it in the end. But this bill allows us the opportunity, and it seems like from reading it, that, I mean, remember when we went to, everybody went at the same time, the
Right.
voters had to approve it and all that stuff. In this case, all it takes is a majority vote from the council
Sure.
to approve it.
Yeah.
And then, once the council approves it, the council will draw lots and see who goes first and who goes second.
Yeah, it was Senate Bill 100 that happened to where we stopped being staggered and everybody had to be at the same.
So, and this would just change in January. I talked to TML and they said the only thing is just, maybe do an ordinance.
Yeah.
Just do an ordinance and then, pick lots, and we don't have to be, it don't have to be on the ballot for November. That's the only, I
Okay,
was just trying to get ahead of the ballgame
okay,
if it was a ballot item, which it's not.
okay.
So,
It's not, what the council will approve is that ordinance, and that ordinance is gonna say who's running, I guess, the first term, and then, the second term, and when those terms expire and stuff like that.
We can draw names.
the only problem I have is like, say, if, place 1, 3, 5 wants to run for mayor, that might, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how that'll kind of, they have to, I guess, resign, and then we'll have to fill in that place or something like, we have to get that technicality. Say if
Okay.
somebody wants to run for mayor and they're up for May, so,
Right, right.
but yeah, that's shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
That's a great idea.
I think it's a good idea because if there's a time when everybody up here changes to new, I can tell you I've struggled since I was elected to move forward because there was no one guiding me through. So being able to have some people who have already been here to kind of guide new council members. I think it's important.
So think about it, it could have been worse. So let's say that all of us would have lost and you would have been here by yourself and not knowing, and then everybody wouldn't know.
Yeah.
And all the work that you did is like, boom, gone.
For sure.
Starting all over again is hard to do.
Yeah, I agree.
That's a great idea.
So-
So how would that work? This is say somebody does want to run for mayor.
I mean, I think you would fall back to the statutes dealing with those type of situations. This ordinance is not gonna do that. This ordinance only gonna do is unstagger
Yeah.
the terms to go back to,
I think that place will be vacant.
Yeah.
We fill it in into the end of the whoever, like say May, and then it'll work out. It's gonna work out. I'd like to maybe see, maybe get a, maybe ordinance.
So I guess we'll just have to work on the ordinance. We'll put it on the agenda. Next.
So one say, three, we have 1 year terms, and the other three have 2 year terms. Does that make sense? So that's what you're not doing.
Not this coming May.
25 and then 26.
So until 2025.
So someone that don't save the money for exercise. Yes, that's. See, when we began, some of the councilmen got lucky and they gave.
Exactly.
So basically you're reversing.
Yeah.
So the way Jesse, they explained it, is some of us are gonna serve 1 year,
Yeah,
and then the others will serve the 2 year.
yeah. So might be a 4-year term.
so that's why you draw lots of it. Yeah, we serve states.
Yes.
How about pay y'all guys?
Yeah.
So
We're gonna go ahead and,
just discussion on
just a discussion only, and then we will, Epi will have an ordinance put together for us, and we'll try to,
We'll draw lots that night, probably.
we'll put it on the February, agenda. And I guess we could probably, if everybody, once Epi gets the ordinance to me, I'll send it to all of y'all for review. So like that, if you have any questions, you can always contact him before the February meeting. So like that, we have everything ironed out before the February meeting, and then we can come in a February meeting and already know, we're gonna move forward.
And maybe that's all places, mayor, 1 through 5, right?
Right. Because it'll be, I think the way it'll work is that 3 council members would run, and then 2 council members and the mayor would run next time. But
Yeah.
again,
Well, it depends.
on the lots.
It used to be 1, 2, 3, and then the mayor 4 and 5. That was 3 and 3. But like Jesse said, if we're gonna draw names and
Yeah, it could be weird.
whatever you.
All right.
And I guess you all figure out what system you want to use. Maybe the lower numbers will go first and the higher numbers go second.
Be interesting.
Or draw a little, those little sticks.
Yeah.
With the shorter.
Who got the short straw?
So since Councilman Falcon just made a motion for discussion only, we don't need to vote on it. We'll put it on next month's agenda. So we're going to go ahead and move forward to item G, discuss, consider, and take action to approve drainage improvements on the 400 block of Front Street. You should have a map there. Since I was elected, I had a lot of people complaining, residents there, about their drainage, the ditch that goes through that part of the neighborhood has basically been filled in. A lot of the culverts are plugged up. So water runs towards the houses and settles underneath the houses. People complain about wood rot underneath some of their houses. And so I contacted the drainage district, and apparently they had already looked into it. This was their recommendation. They can redo the ditches there, put in the new culverts where the homes are, I guess where the driveways are. And of course, I think that we have some funds with the drainage district, so it won't cost the city. It won't be an expense on us. But you know, I've been out there myself because, like I said, people have complained. So I've gone out there when it's pouring down rain, and yeah, I mean there is some flow back towards because I don't know why. Maybe Billy, you've been here longer. They curbed they curbed all that front street, but they stopped right there. Was there a reason why they didn't
That
move
was when I
forward?
was a councilman.
Okay. Do you know
What
why?
happened there is, you know, with the council decided to go ahead and just go with the, not there because it goes to the county. So what was gonna happen was everybody had to pay $6 a linear foot. Even the people on Main would come back and say, hey, well, how come we didn't get included? Because that's a state highway.
Right.
So that's the same reason there. So they said, well, the curb can be done on the other side, but not across the street.
Oh, okay.
But, I mean, if there's funding for it,
Well, this
and they're gonna do culverts.
yeah, this particular project here is just to redo the ditches and put in new culverts. It doesn't include
Doesn't include the curb.
the curbs. So
But
I
that's
don't
why
know.
Back in the day, that's why they stopped the curbing if they were going out to the counties or the state highway.
Okay.
So, but if we get, say, if we get with the county, maybe we can do curb on the left side, on the east side,
By the houses?
yeah?
On the house side?
And maybe we can get with whoever's doing the county commissioner. But wait, what is that, about
The drainage?
100 yards?
No, that's
No.
a lot
To
more
the
than that.
lift station, it goes to the lift station, right?
It's like about
Say
200.
about 200
That shouldn't be, you
or 300. I'm thinking my track days.
know.
I don't remember that far back.
50 yards?
I don't remember that far back.
It's kind of far.
So you
Yeah.
thought
it's-
about looking at once a contractor comes in and see if they want to try to.
Well,
do
just
it.
contract with whoever the county commissioner is, and then we also got street maintenance. And street maintenance is good for sidewalks and
Curbs.
curb and gutter. And that'll get the water going back the other way to the ditch.
The drainage, the drainage district's gonna cover anything that has to do with flooding.
Yeah.
And it even includes concrete. So even if a curb, what's gonna help, then by all means, it helps because a curb draws the water.
So maybe we can get with the drainage,
Yeah.
I'll get with the drainage district and see if they can include curbs on that side,
On our
on the
side.
house side.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of on
Not
this,
the railroad side.
on
And
the
then we'll get
railroad
Also
side.
with Lily, maybe she can, whoever the county commissioner is at that time, help us
Okay.
out.
Sounds good. I think,
I would check with your engineer also, make sure you got everything running.
Yeah.
the right
Yeah.
way.
yeah, well, the county engineers have already looked at it, and then I forwarded this to Adura, and Adura looked at it and he said it looks good. So, or Aradura, I don't even know how to pronounce it, but they've looked at it also. So
Do you know how much money we have in there? They didn't tell you?
I haven't asked, but
It was 70, it was 45,000, how much?
A little over 300,000.
See?
that was my understanding
That's a
the last
street
time
though.
that,
Not the drainage.
Drainage is
No, I'm talking about
45,000.
drainage.
No, the drainage.
District.
300?
The drainage district,
Yeah, I'm
yes.
talking about that.
That'll help out.
Again, like Jesse
Yeah.
said, you got the street
Maintenance?
maintenance, it's like the 4B sales tax, and then you have
Yeah.
your.
well, we would have to coordinate it together. The
Yeah.
project would have to be done at the same time,
Whatever
so.
The drainage doesn't cover it. and-
I'll make a motion to approve the drainage improvement for 400 block of Front Street.
I second it.
Good idea.
Yeah, this item G.
Isaac second.
So we have a motion by Councilman Falcon to approve the drainage improvements on the 400 block of Front Street, second by Councilman Dominguez. If we're not, no more discussion, we're gonna go ahead and vote. Place one,
Yes.
place two, place three,
Yes.
place four,
Yes.
place five.
I'm already in the lot system.
Yeah.
And now that the state is doing that, Maine, I was like relieved. I was like, man, I'm glad that these people are getting curbed. Because
Now they're
back in the
getting,
day, the city would get criticized. Well, how come you did everybody else? But then again, it's a state highway.
Yeah,
The people couldn't pay their $6 linear foot. Even if they wanted to, the state wasn't gonna let them.
yeah.
well, it's also, don't we have a couple of humps there too for the speed?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we can
There's
do
two.
some kind of speed deterrent, we could throw another hump in there, because they used to go.
Okay. Yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and move forward to item 4, announcements and non-action items. First item is item A, discuss emergency service agreement. I emailed you guys. They're just big documents, and they're just too much to copy and give to y'all. But this company that it's what's the name of the company again? DRC Emergency Services. They already have a contract with the city of Aransas Pass and Port Aransas. They provide emergency cleanup services whenever there's a disaster. They actually did Rockport. If there was a hurricane here, instead of us, having our maintenance guys have to be out there clearing streets and fixing, getting trees out of the way, and this company comes in and they provide that service. It doesn't cost the city anything unless we initiate the service. So it's just an agreement in case, kind of like an insurance.
Don't we have something with
They do
Republic?
the same thing with
I
Republic.
think Republic does it for us.
Yeah,
What
we
is,
do.
what do we have with y'all?
So we have a force majeure clause in every one of our contracts. It doesn't give us the right to be your remediation company like TRC, but it gives us the right to have access to mainways and important areas within your city in the event of an act of God or disaster. So we can be there. We do offer that service, but we have to negotiate a separate deal on it to get pricing in there.
Right.
We don't have a first right refusal on it, okay? However, with each city in your county, I would encourage you to check with, if you're on a piggyback contract with the county, you don't have the ability to go get a contract on your own.
Right.
So that's the first thing you need to check, is if you're on the San Pat County's emergency plan, then they will go get the company that they find has the best bid, and then you're gonna have to use that company. And it's all driven through the county. If you as a city have your own.
True. Yeah, and it's true, because
Yeah.
what we did when Hurricane Harvey, the only thing that we were authorized to do as a city is, we created a centralized site. If y'all recall, right behind the church where the textile is using. Well, everybody was throwing the stuff there, and then it was approved by TCEQ and everything. Everybody approved it. The county would send the trucks there, and they hauled off everything. No, we didn't have to bill they didn't bill us at all. Everything was handled through the county.
So where did FEMA come into place? So they did.
FEMA had a lot to do with a lot of the destruction on buildings and things like that.
So the
belong
county
to the city.
decides what's best for the city of Odem?
Well, they got more power to get grants
Huh?
and stuff like that.
Yeah. FEMA is really about reimbursing the county if they're handling it, or the city if they have their own. A city can request their own emergency plan and get out of this with the county if the county approves it, but both entities have to agree on that.
I have to find out if there's something with the
I
county.
don't really.
What's included, but that's the way we did it at that time. Yeah, we didn't handle anything.
Yeah.
Who would know that, over there in the county? That
You should have, each city should have an emergency
Emergency
coordinator
coordinator.
assigned to them from the county.
What's the cost for that if we stay with the county?
Well, there is no cost. They're the ones that are gonna deal with FEMA. They're the ones that are gonna deal with all that. The only thing that we were promised and all that, and that's why all this is coming into play now, all the money for the pumps and all the money, that's what was promised to us a long time ago. But who got the money? The county.
So this is the same thing with this company. What they basically, and then there are other companies out there, we can always go out for bid. That's why this is just a discussion. We can put together an RFQ or something. But the way they've explained it is they typically, the cities don't really have, don't put an investment in that. Usually they collect through FEMA first. And then if there are some things that FEMA doesn't cover, then of course the city, has to cover those expenses. He said, but like with Rockport, they said they did the cleanup for Rockport, and they were the ones who brought out those big burning machines to burn all that. He says Rockport's expense was pretty much none because FEMA covered
That's Aransas County,
Rockport's
all the. That's Aransas County. Yeah.
Rockport gets to choose, they have their own emergency plan.
Yeah.
Port A has their own emergency plan. So they didn't have to use the county's piggyback on that. So once again, FEMA is really about reimbursement to either the city or the county after that storm has been done. But there's so many moving parts to it, but Odem would need to just check, who do you fall under right now?
Uh-huh.
And if you don't have your own emergency plan stated in your charter, then you're probably piggybacked off of San Pat. And I'm almost positive what Councilman Huerta was saying is correct. Just so you know, I was voluntold back during Harvey to be an emergency coordinator for my company. We as a company handled 3 cities cleanup because they had their own choice on who they wanted to use. So I have a lot of knowledge and experience of going through that, from getting the city's designated area approved by TCQ to working with the county. And so there's a lot of moving parts, but some of what each of you are saying is correct, because first step is see what you have now in place. You may be piggybacked, and I'm pretty sure you are on San Pat. So you need to get with your emergency coordinator, call them. Who's our emergency coordinator, unless y'all know that already?
No,
And ask these questions.
But I'll just get a hold with Judge Krebs.
Yeah.
I'll get with Judge Krebs.
I think it's a great idea, though. That's certainly something we need.
Yeah, well, either way, it's coming up.
What helped us is a lot of people were very impatient and they didn't want to agree in the front yard, so they brought it to our street last side. And it worked out perfect. And then, of course, the city guys were doing a lot of work as well.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing, because we're so, I mean, we only have 3 maintenance guys. They would be, I mean, if we had water, which we would probably have, I mean, water leaks, gas leaks, and just, if it was a big disaster, those guys would be so busy with other things. And being able to put all hands on deck to try to clear out and allow our citizens to get back to town, because most people will leave. Most people are going to be gone. I already told Judge Krebs I got a bunk over there at the new dome. So, but everybody else will be gone, and so getting back into the city.
We can always contract somebody, but then if we're with the county, then all the bills will be turned over
to the county. So, yeah, well, I'll get with Judge Krebs, and then I'll keep you all informed through emails and everything. So,
you got a source right there, Mike.
Yeah, and I'll just reach out to Mike too as we move along.
If I may, Mayor, just one more piece, how this really impacts us as your normal garbage and solid waste provider right now. In the event of a storm like that, and we have to kick in the force majeure clause, and I would issue all of you letters saying, effective this date, once the storm clears, we are no longer picking up brush and bulky until further notice. We're done. Only municipal solid waste because it's sanitary.
Right.
And that what gives us easement to come into your city to pick up just the garbage, because that's the most sensitive sanitary item right now. All that other debris, people might say, well, and I promise you, they call me thousands of times. Get it. We can't get it because that's where FEMA comes in.
Right.
If another company touches that debris, other than the storm debris chosen company, then it could make you ineligible for your reimbursement.
Right.
And people want to put out everything structurally along with it. It's one big pile. I promise you, you've seen all the pictures. We all went through it. So it's very complicated, but we have to put out a letter for that reason, that we can't pick it up. We want to, but we can't after a storm hits. So that's the purpose of how any solid waste provider you have, they're going to have that clause for that reason to say, we're on pause for now.
Right.
We'll just get your garbage.
Right. No, I understand. I think that was kind of explained to me kind of the same way. So, so I'll look into it. I'll talk to Judge Krebs, and then we'll maybe later on we'll put it on an agenda to actually move on it, take some action on it. Item B, discuss the city impound fees. It's my understanding, and Epi, correct me if I'm wrong, the city impound fees can only be used to run the city impound.
My understanding is that those impound fees are earmarked separate, and they can't be put into the general fund.
Now, if the council, from what I've gathered, if the council agrees or I guess, to use those funds for general purposes, we would have to redo the budget because it has to be included in the new budget. So the existing budget would have to be amended so we could use these funds. But however, we could use them to transition, like with Danny, right? I mean, we transition over to Danny, so Danny's kind of taking care of our impounds stuff. So any expenses associated with that transition, we can still use from the impound.
Because now, my understanding that, Chief's not here, but the impound fees before, I guess, the police department would impound the vehicles, and then at the end of the month, the city would cut a check to
Danny.
Danny, right?
Right.
For those fees. Right? And now it's not working like that. Now, Danny's getting paid directly.
Right, Danny can, I mean, if we've only had one impound, but Danny will pick up the vehicle and he handles all the processing of that vehicle. We kind of have a hands-off approach right now.
So
But we do
where
have,
does the city now make revenue off of that?
we don't.
We don't, but to David's point, you know, we got that, he got that grant. This might be an opportunity to reutilize that impound.
Yeah.
And start getting some revenue out of there if we need to. So, yeah, we definitely need to start looking at that and asking the questions that he's asking now. Because I certainly think that that's an opportunity where we could try to utilize those funds somewhere.
But I think to answer the mayor's question, he's asking if those funds can be put into general fund, and I think you
Why can't
can.
they?
You can.
Weren't
It's-
they being done before like
It's
that?
the tickets
Well,
that
We can't.
is a little different
Yeah, for this.
in certain items, but I think you can, because.
well, you can, but, and I'm not, and I don't really know, I mean, what I have seen in my 7 months here, there was a lot of transfers of big amounts of money from both the municipal court and from the impound that were transferred over into general funds. But there's no description of what that money was used for. And both those accounts, those funds could only be used for a very specific purpose, like Epi said. So the way it was being done, those funds were, if you use the impound fees, if they were using the impound fees, and Hilda and I have looked through this, and even when Janie was here, they were transferring big, when it got to a certain amount, they said, okay, well, we're gonna just transfer that money over to the pool cash. Well, that can be considered an unconstitutional tax on people and not a fee, because it can't be used for general funds. So at some point, somebody could come back and say, well, if you're using that money for general purposes, then it's considered a tax, you know, and that's unconstitutional because it's not, it's a fee. So what I'm trying to do here, we do have, there's $37,000 in that account right now. And so how can we use that to help the city, you know, moving forward? Well, obviously we can't just throw it into the general fund because that's, you know, I don't know if it's considered illegal or what.
If you do put it in the general fund, but you're gonna have to have some type
Some kind of line
saying-
item.
Saying, well, you spend the money that you're authorized to.
Right. So
Like the narcotics fund, and I think there's
We
some
have
other
two,
fund,
we have two, bridge ticket, technology and. security.
technology and
It
security.
Right.
cannot be spent, it has to be.
right, it has to stay in the
For that.
municipal
And
account.
we don't have it, correct? We don't have it right now?
We don't have separate accounts for, but the money is there.
Okay.
So the money is there. So what I'm trying to, I guess, do is, I mean, we can use some of those funds. I mean, if anything comes up with Danny, you know, like if there's some kind of expense that has to do with the impound, like, then we can use those funds to cover those expenses. But can we use it legally as a general fund for general fund purposes? My understanding from the information is we would have to, because it's considered revenue, so we would have to redo or amend our existing budget to
Add
add
it as revenue.
as revenue. So I don't know if that's kind of a headache really to me.
Yep.
Well, no, the 37,000 that's there right
Yeah,
now
you're right.
would would be guaranteed.
Talking about that, you're talking about just those funds that are left, kind of
Right.
left over, I guess. you
Right,
could say.
right, to just,
Like to find a way to utilize them versus them sitting there. Is that
right, correct. So, I mean, this
Not
is,
something that we would do moving forward because we don't even have the impound.
Well-
He's saying, how can we use those funds? Otherwise, they're just sitting there,
right,
Well, like I said, you're gonna get a grant
right?
for a new
Am I
police
correct?
officer. You could probably, maybe you put it into the vehicles, get them back up to par.
yeah, but you still won't have anybody to manage the impound.
Get that officer.
So when you get the new officer, those vehicles need maintenance. You can probably say, hey, we're using it to
Can we use it for that?
yeah, and also maybe clean up that area there. I mean,
Yeah, we can use it for that.
Not maintain the vehicles that are being impounded.
No.
I mean, the people.
yeah,
The law
because they've
enforcement,
been
the police
sitting-
vehicles.
Yeah, because they've been sitting for, I mean, they've been sitting for, they're getting new tires or.
Or you want to take the.
I mean, we don't, Danny would continue.
Danny's always continued it. The city used to pay $100.
He's saying the funds that are just sitting there right now.
We just got some funds there that he just wants to make sure.
Because otherwise, they're not being used, they're just sitting there. So that's.
So if we can use them to like,
Sounds to me like.
to
to
right.
fix up the vehicles, I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
I think that's associated in,
Because have you seen that back of that impound? It needs work.
Oh, it needs a lot of.
It needs a lot of work. Somebody needs, maybe hire a contractor to clean it up. And,
they can do that.
yeah, that's. easy.
Okay, that's a good idea.
What?
Because the back where the impound was, I mean, there's a lot of overgrown
reclaim, there
grass.
you
I mean, it gets really muddy back there. That's where the EMS kind of has their office space. So maybe,
Well, maybe
We
you
can
can
use
throw a little
those-
pad of cement too, because, when they have court, there's parked cars everywhere.
those funds to fix up that.
Throw a little pad out there.
So those are all good ideas. So that's, okay, that's kind of,
And that's, I guess, workable.
yeah, I mean, I think that all falls into.
Yeah.
No, it won't take 37,000, but we could use, instead of using our general funds.
Yeah.
So we're gonna move on to item C, discuss a preventive maintenance plan for all city-owned vehicles, maintenance, police, and fire department. There's a little, this is just kind of a draft of a vehicle maintenance checklist. You guys can take it and make your recommendations to add or remove things. This is just something that I picked up off the internet. We've had so many issues. The police department has 2 or 3 vehicles right now that don't run. And the white vehicle doesn't run. The black one right now doesn't run. And they're just sitting there. And when you ask for, well, where's the maintenance logs on them? There really isn't no maintenance logs. We have fire trucks that, have had issues, and there's no maintenance logs for those fire trucks. We have maintenance vehicles also. I mean, we have maintenance trucks that, when I first came in, there was a truck in the back of the maintenance shop, and I said, hey, so what's wrong with this truck? And they said, well, it doesn't start. And I said, well, what have y'all done to try to fix it? And they said, well, they just said it doesn't start. And we were told it doesn't work. So I went to open the hood. There's a big old wasp nest underneath. There's no battery in it. So I'm like, okay, well, it's not going to start without a battery. So I pulled my truck over there. I checked all the fluids, make sure that everything was good before I tried to start it. And it started right up. And I drove it around for about an hour around the city. And then I called Danny and said, Danny, do you have a used battery that you can let me borrow so I can put in this truck, or I'll buy it from you? So he had one. I went over there, put the battery on, turned it off, and it started right back up. And there are other vehicles back there that they say, well, they don't run. They don't know why they don't run. They don't know if it's a transmission issue or so. I think Ms. Scandella had said, I think we needed to kind of do this, get a maintenance checklist. And as you can see, it's divided into monthly and every 3 months and then annually. So, I mean.
So have they had any maintenance on them at all? Do we know?
No, I mean,
We've asked for them in the past and they kind of just,
Yeah.
we remember Jesse, we started asking for them like a couple of years ago.
It's just like the police cars or EMS, when the EMS come in, they check their fluid, blah, 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 and they log it out.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
it's.
worry about the cars that are parked, because they never get started. If I have these actually when they started, you know, they be sitting there, you know, there's cars parked inside the barn, and there's cars parked outside.
Yeah.
Right.
Good cars, they look very good from the outside, but, you know, I don't know if something's wrong with
Could
them,
he
but at least
possibly
they should
use a
start.
different one every week?
Yeah, I think that's something that we've kind of discussed is using a different vehicle because I know the gray truck he's using right now, the one that's parked out in front, that one runs, and the blue one I think runs, but the black Camaro and the white Camaro,
Or inside.
yeah, those two don't run, and
The Chargers.
the Chargers.
Can we get rid of them?
So, I mean, that's an option. I mean,
What year?
What about the black truck, sir? Where's the black truck?
Huh?
that's the one the chief has with him. That one still runs. Yeah, we just, but now they don't run. They're just
We'll get them running and sell them.
sitting there.
They can't, they're 28, they're not that.
But they're
old.
equipped, yeah.
No, but what I'm saying,
Oh.
like, there can't be anything major
No.
wrong with them.
I don't think so.
They probably-
Settlers sitting, they're looking for cars.
Who does their maintenance anyway?
Well, we don't need maintenance, they take it to Danny, but I don't think they take them forever. Because like I said, I've asked for, I instituted a mileage log thing and they never follow through with it. There are just no, vehicle maintenance checklists on any of these, like saying, okay, well, we changed the oil just on this day, or we changed rotated tires on this day. They're just not being done, and, the city's paying a lot of money for these vehicles, and then for them to just be sitting there because nobody knows what's wrong with them, or not catching a problem early on. Because, with your vehicle, if you maintain it regularly, you can catch something early on and address it before it gets too expensive. So that's something that I want to avoid. I don't want to have to put another brand new engine on another fire truck because that was way too much money.
Can
What-
something
what
happen if
makes
they
it
don't get
difficult-
started, sir? Can something happen to the vehicles if you don't start them?
Well, I mean, not only,
Yeah, you can.
What makes it difficult is not the same person drives a vehicle, so it's always somebody different.
mhm,
So that's where the liability in the vehicle maintenance comes in.
yeah.
Every day.
Check it before you took off.
Yeah.
Because he can easily say, well, I don't know, the guy before.
Well,
mhm.
just like,
But at the
I-
end of the day, it's whoever's in charge just needs to make. sure that
absolutely,
they're-
that's why,
Yeah.
just like Isaac said, we've always implemented this for years. Y'all remember Isaac Viola? They burned
Oh,
a
yeah.
truck.
Yeah.
They burned a truck, brand new.
But what do? You got limos,
And
don't you
that's what
check?
we- Oh, yeah.
I mean, you check your
And then
limos
I
every
think
day.
maybe once
Yeah.
this gets implemented and it needs to be submitted to the city administrator,
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
it used to be the supervisor for that department, yeah.
but then it needs to go to the.
Yeah, exactly.
person. At
we have to have a
the end
log
of the
for
day,
all the
That
vehicles,
person needs to be, to make sure that the departments are doing
right,
their.
okay.
Good idea.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna go ahead and like I said, take this with you, look over it, make changes, add things,
I'm
delete
gonna send you
things.
one that we have. at work.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, that's
I
a,
think the one that you have, Isaac, is that's the one that I was referring to years back and it never got done.
so,
Yeah, well, we-
I mean, I don't, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Like that black truck that's sitting outside in front of the police department. Why not give it to the fire department for a command vehicle? Like in a big structure fire, big grass fire, they can run out of that truck as a command post.
Well,
That's sitting,
Oh, it's right.
at Durango.
it's a black one that's parked out
It's a
front.
truck. It's like-
No, it's a-
A lot of times you get, usually like I'm sitting refugio and all that, and you gotta keep a log. What fire department is here, what fire department is fighting the fire, which one are taking the breaks. And you need a big space, or a big board to know what's coming in, who's going out, who's getting refill, who's getting,
Well, we can look at that. Maybe we can utilize one of the vehicles with the, for the fire department.
The
Um,
fire department, do they have something like this?
No, ma'am,
It's still included.
but that's all gonna be
Dan's
included.
been working on it. Every Sunday he comes and checks the,
Yeah, I know Dan does. He does, check
Now,
the
yeah.
vehicles now regularly now. But there is no road maintenance checklist that they could say, look, or pass down, when Dan's not there,
And-
somebody else. will.
And I wouldn't want that anyway. What I would want is somebody that's gonna be driving that vehicle that day.
Yeah, sure.
That's the way you should
It
do
was
it.
checked a week ago. No, that day, who's driving it?
You guys just ride around, are they riding around?
Don't have some mileage.
200 miles in one day?
Well, I know where I worked before in Austin, when you got your, you took a vehicle, you had to
Yeah.
run through it, make sure everything was, you had a checklist basically that you had to go through. So that's something that I wanted to kind of implement. I know Ms. Councilman Candela reached out to me and, she had the idea. So like I said, I just downloaded this from the internet. So if you have something that's a little bit better,
I don't
we
know
can
if it's better,
definitely,
but I'll send it.
we can definitely look at it. The city audits, I talked to Raul last week and they had to get more information from Ms. Hilda because they're trying to still finish up 2021. But we had to report to the Water Development Board because they wanted to know what's going on. So basically, Raul had to close his office down a few times in the last few months because one of his employees lost his father. So that employee's the one, what's his name? Matthew? Matthew, he lost his father, so he was out for a while. And then Raul's wife had a stroke or got sick or something. So he was out, but they're back on it. He hopes to get it completed by the end of January, the 2021, and then we'll start 2022. And hopefully we can get 2023 in before the deadline. And then we can do that. That'll be a big win for us. So that's all the information I really have on the audits. But you guys are welcome to email Raul and ask any questions you want. And I'm sure he'll respond to you. Discuss available training for municipal court clerk. I know Miss Judge,
I don't know what this is about, sir. I'm gonna request, who put this on the agenda?
I
Who
did.
asked for it?
I did, because
Okay.
I talked to her during the little thing we had. I said, have you had
We have
training?
money, sir, in our budget that just got approved for us to go to school,
Correct,
but why did it get put on here?
because I wanted to send her to school quick.
It's just a.
It's just a discussion thing. It's just something that he
And
thinks.
You have this, right? You have the calendar?
Yes,
We got one
that's
and,
right. You and I used to go to these, right? I have to do a mandatory 16 hours.
me too.
And then I didn't finish them last year, so I don't know if they're gonna kick me out or they're gonna keep me in. Because that's when you came and we couldn't use the money or anything, and yet I had money in my budget,
Right.
but I could not finish my 6 hours. She could not finish. But I feel pretty confident that we have the money now.
Yeah.
So we will,
That's the only reason, just,
okay.
because she said she had no training, so hey, there's a
She's
bunch
been
of,
to school twice in San Antonio for a week and a week.
so she's
last
got
year.
clerk 1, clerk 2, or
No,
clerk
no,
3?
no, she's on clerk 1. She's on clerk 1 still. And she needs to go to clerk 3 eventually, 1, 2, and 3. And it's not like she doesn't know because I've sent her twice for a whole week. And the city paid for her mileage, for her everything, her food and stuff like that. She learned a lot.
Okay,
You
well,
know why?
just
she
keep
said-
on, like I said,
Yes,
just keep
I
on.
will, absolutely,
Sure,
absolutely.
that's all, just keep,
Believer of going
So
to
is
school
she
because
still
we
not
learn so
feeling
much.
comfortable? Is that the problem? Or-
no, because there's always new procedures. I know every year there's new
Oh,
procedures.
yes, something new.
Everything with the January, they got a lot of new implements on laws and stuff like that. So just staying current. And just helping the judge
Yes,
out,
sir.
too.
I will stay on it and I will go and get her to go, but I was just curious about this because.
She said that in December and I just said, hey, I just put it so everybody be on the same
No
page.
problem, sir. No problem.
And you too, so you can get your CEUs also.
The final item here, F, discuss the request by Edcott Co-op Gin to develop an RV park for employees. on East Humphrey Street. If you see the map, Daniel, is that his name? Daniel? The Metcalf? He wants to, I guess they own this property here. He wants to kind of know if what he would have to do. He wants to build an RV park for his employees, the seasonal workers, because right now they sleep at the trailers over there by the gin. And when the gin's going 24/7, those guys don't really get a whole lot of sleep because the noise. I mean, I know where I live, you can hear the gin all the way to where I'm at. So he has this idea. It's not going to be done anytime soon. That's how come it's not an action item. It's just for discussion.
And they've been working on that for 3-4 years.
Yeah. So he wants to see, about, planning to build an RV park there that would be for his
Is that in
seasonal
our city
workers.
limits?
Yes.
It would have to go to
The
planning and zoning. That
first.
one does, because
Yeah.
it might be agricultural.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
if it's agricultural,
Yeah.
then it'll go through the planning and zoning to switch it
Switch it
to
over.
residential.
Okay.
Not only that, but we have a separate ordinance that we do not allow mobile homes or RVs.
Right. Another one.
So that's another
That's what I
thing.
was-
However, the
Right.
good thing about it is that cactus patch is right there.
Yeah.
Mhm.
2 houses
Cactus patch.
nearby.
Yeah, cactus
So
patch is.
that might be a plus.
Yeah.
Because it would sit behind
That's,
where
Judge.
that
Garza's-
Judge Garza's house is.
See, that's our street right there. That's
Yeah,
a street right there.
That's an actual street.
That's an actual street right there.
Okay.
That's an actual street.
So, I mean,
That sounds good. I mean,
it's something that I guess the planning and zoning committee can get together. I mean, you guys seem to know a lot about it, so y'all can talk about it.
yeah.
One of the negotiations that we can do is if they
Yeah.
want to do it.
Yeah.
That's when we can open up the road, what's it called?
Oh, the one that'll go all the way through.
And then
Frederick?
Yeah.
Fredericks, and then behind, they meet up.
Yep.
That'd be perfect opportunity.
Yep.
So what is it right now? This is city limits?
Yes, city.
Then you're looking at, how many fire hydrants and stuff. We gotta. all
Well,
that
we
gotta
have
be up.
fire hydrants all right there.
Whatever an
So,
RV park requires.
Yeah.
all right, well, you and Dilly can, y'all know more about it.
You know who would be good too is that the guy that was in last week. That he does RV parks too.
Oh, I mean, I don't know who he's gonna use to do it, but I mean, if you guys think it'll be a benefit to the city and we can do it, get around the ordinances that we have and whatever else.
It
I
is,
mean,
it is a benefit also because, again, you're able to charge per unit. Also, I've known like my mom's neighbor, they have a little RV park. Man, they collect, the county collects $6,000 just for a little small RV park.
oh,
So even that would be revenue and taxes.
yeah,
Because they charge you per slot, you got water, electrical and all that, so it's got value.
Yeah.
But, we're able to make money off water, and garbage, and sewer.
well, if he would fork out, I guess we would get him to fork out the expense for the road.
I
Is
mean,
that
wouldn't
how it
you-
works?
wouldn't the residents that live around there would have to have a say?
Yeah.
There's only two.
Well, Danny's the only,
You still have to. But
Yeah.
if-
But all these
if-
others
How about the
that
ones
people
across
are
the street?
But they're not landowners. It only has to be landowners and 200 feet away.
So that's
So-
across the railroad.
Yep.
That's way across the railroad. So
that's just a cactus patch. Those are just rental properties. They're not.
So these don't count.
Oh, yeah, well, it might. The ones on, that wrap around Fredericks.
Yep.
On First Street in
Yeah.
Fredericks, but that wouldn't be 200
It might,
feet. I mean,
yeah, you're right. It might not exceed the 200.
some of them.
well, I mean, I guess that's something that
Yeah,
the
well,
planning
it's
and
good, yeah.
zoning group, you guys can kind of
Now, is he
see.
gonna open this to the public?
It's not gonna be for the public. It's,
Seasonal,
What's he
they
gonna
can
do?
utilize it.
yeah.
To rent it out to whoever.
So I guess that's something that would have to be kind of discussed with him,
Good idea.
All right,
Yeah.
all right. And,
That's it.
that's it. Reports. Anybody got any reports?
No.
Phase one,
Yeah. I
phase
just-
one?
I got a text from Isabel. Hi Isabel, she's viewing the
No.
video. She says, no, to correct, she does have records of all the police vehicles.
Okay,
They
good.
were very
Okay.
strict with that. So they do, she said that the vehicle number, the black Charger, let's see here. The white Charger is not good. The black Charger, all it needs is a possible alternative. So the white Charger is no good. She's recommending.
That's where the disconnect is, because evidently they were doing them, but if they're not submitting that information
To the city administrator.
again, but the city administrator, we would need to ask for it.
Yeah,
Where
so-
are we with the city administrator?
We have a couple of other applicants that I'm gonna try to schedule for interviews for next week. I'll let you guys know, so if y'all wanna participate. And then once we get those applicants, then we can kind of decide on how, who we're gonna move on with. So, I'll get on that, this week, try to schedule those interviews.
Do you know?
And,
I guess you'll know.
I'll send you the information. I won't know what days, but I'll send y'all some options to choose from. Any reports, Ms. Yolanda? Anything to report, Mr. Dominguez?
No.
Ms. Falcon?
Yeah. No, it's just, how we doing in street patching?
We got a lot of help from the community, obviously. Letting us know where all the potholes were. So we're kind of going by sections. We kind of divided, so, they've been kind of hitting, when they do have a chance, they go out and work on patching some of the holes. So you guys have probably seen some of the holes have been filled in. So they're working on it, and, we're going to continue to address them as we move along. So they constantly have to get pulled away a lot because of the water leaks and stuff, but we're getting on it. So we've gotten on a lot of them.
And speaking of water leaks, is there a way you can implement a little overtime for those guys, maybe stay another hour to do a little bit more work, or maybe work a weekend?
I mean, we could. I mean,
there's only 3 guys, maybe we can implement maybe a weekend.
Voluntary, if not work. So we can look into see if they're interested in working some extra time.
Is there a welder or a laborer that comes in the weekend?
No, we just have a part-timer that works most.
Running around the other day all day on Saturday.
So,
Secretary.
I don't know.
You go around a lot.
Yes, ma'am.
The county fair was on the 27th of January. The 20th?
The 27th.
No, the 20th
The 20th
to the 27th.
to the 27th.
I would like for y'all
I'd like for y'all
to come and support the FFA,
to come and support the FFA,
the junior FFA,
the junior FFA,
and the Rocky Knoll 40.
and the Rocky Knoll Flag.
All right. Well, thank you, ma'am. I appreciate it. We will do that.
You interrupted me, man. Now I gotta go start over again. Clear my list. I'm just kidding. No, the highway lights, can we get those out to where Billy's at?
Who's responsible for those? I mean, is it
The lights?
The highway lights.
It's called textile.
Textile?
I mean, there are a bunch of them not
There's a
open.
fee. Well, they changed the bulbs.
No,
No?
no, we're talking about the ones that's not lit out here.
the ones from out of
Well,
town?
going out of town, they're all
out of
Going
town.
back to Corpus.
Yes, they're all pretty much all out.
Every day, David used to have to come and turn them off, and at the end of the day, he would have, then he'd have to turn them back on.
Get 'em
When
fixed.
he'd leave at
No,
5
I think he
o'clock.
turned it off. I think.
We'll have to look at that.
They're just,
Fix that.
I cannot remember what the story is on that, but
Well, it's because somebody bored underneath and they spliced it
Yeah.
and ruined.
it's the cities, they're the
Oh.
cities.
But it should be on those
I think
They
night
don't- they only
sensors.
replace it with bulbs, from what I understand.
Well, we got street maintenance. If that, we can get that fixed. I mean,
Yeah, we'll look into
because they're
it.
all, going out of town, they're all out, right? They're all out.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all out. I mean,
Okay.
let's just get them working again,
That's been that way like about 4 to 5 years.
Excuse
So
me.
let's look into
It
that.
has been.
The only thing I have is if you look, as far as Councilman Dominguez wanted a report on our revenue and expenses. If you look at what I have here, Ms. Hilda worked on this a little bit last week and to get it together for us.
looking better.
It's looking better. I mean, to this quarter, we had a surplus of 62,000. And if we continue that trend, maybe, we'll be able to put that 14% that we approved into our reserves at the end of the year. So no negatives. So we're looking good. We're
And the
still,
bills, have they been paid?
we're caught up with October, November, and we're finishing in up December. But everything for last fiscal year is done.
Good.
And Ms. Hilda will be closing out that fiscal year this week, right? If you get a chance. Hopefully.
Can we get a review on the budget? How we doing on the budget?
That's why I have to close.
Yeah. So
Okay.
she has to close out the year. Once she closes out the year, then she'll put the budget, the new fiscal year, and I'll send them out to y'all to keep.
Because probably
So-
in January and February, we get a lot of money because of taxes.
Well, they're starting to slowly come in.
I gotta pay a lot of taxes.
You know,
At
so,
I gotta pay that.
the end of the month, you get it.
yeah, so,
The last day of the month.
Everybody 31st can get 31st.
so we're gonna move to item, the last item here, adjourn. Do I have a motion to adjourn? Motion by Councilman Dominguez, second by Councilman Huerta. We are adjourned. Huh? The what? Oh, yeah.